Welcome to another Team Talk. I am Matt Prim from Fitness with Matt, and this is part 2 of my talk, which was 10 things I hate about the health and wellness and fitness industry. I got the title wrong there, but thankfully it's written below, so you know what it's all about. So, part 1, we discussed 5 things I disliked about the health and fitness industry, and today we're talking about another 5 things. So, let's get straight into it, team. Now, these are, of course, just my experiences and also my opinions. So do get involved in the conversation as always. But working in the industry, I see the impact of the things I'm about to talk about on real people and their lives and the negative impacts they can have. So, starting with number 6. The thing I hate is the kind of one-size-fits-all rule. A lot of people get into the fitness industry, become personal trainers because they love training a certain way. And that's all they talk about. That's all they advocate and say, this thing works. And there's a lot of people out there using shock tactics that I find discouraging. People saying Zumba class is rubbish, everyone should be lifting weights. You know, people who love running, dismissing other forms of exercise. And do you know what? The most important thing is you find something that you enjoy. It's far better to find something that you want to do long term. That's the best exercise for you. Also, just because I lost weight, body fat, and got stronger a certain way, it doesn't mean that's going to work for you. So often PTs will give everyone the same program because what they've done worked for them. But actually, everyone is different, and you have to find what works for you. And you don't want to find someone in the fitness industry who dismisses things when you're going to them being like, hey, that works. Like early on in my career, I was probably a bit guilty of this, being like, try this. But actually, something is better than nothing. If someone loves going to Slimming World, awesome. If it's working for them, brilliant. If someone comes to me saying, I'm taking this herbal remedy and it works for me, even though maybe out there's no scientific evidence to prove it, who am I to dismiss it? Because it's working for someone. Brilliant. So everyone is different. Everyone has a different lifestyle. Everyone has a different responsibility. So you really have to work with what you have. And if you are looking to start a health and fitness journey, you need to find someone who understands that and who's going to listen and try and work with you. Not discourage you, not give you unrealistic tasks, okay? That's a really important thing. And finally, you know, a lot of people seek advice from celebrities on social media, advocating certain things because they've been paid to. So, okay, make sure when we're getting advice, it's from someone who's qualified, reputable, but also who you connect with. So maybe today, if there's people out there who make you feel bad on your social media and put pressure on you, unfollow them, snooze them for 30 days on Facebook, do what you need to, but understand that your journey will be very different from the next person's. So we all have that friend who's like, oh, I've done this and I've achieved this. It might have worked for them, but don't be afraid to go, hey, that's not going to work for me, because we're all different and that's what's wonderful in the world. So, number 7, no pain, no gain. Okay, people who go train hard or go home, stuff like that is not helpful. Firstly, we need to distinguish between discomfort versus pain. Now, we all know if we go for a run, we'll start to feel burning pains in our muscles because we're building up lactic acid. Now, that's normal and that's discomfort. But if you're feeling pain when you're doing something, that is a warning sign from your body. There are very few things that you should continue to do if you're getting sharp pains, something that makes you go ouch. Discomfort is one thing, pain is another. If you feel pain during exercise, speak to someone about that, okay? Don't ignore it, especially if it's something sharp and insistent. Also, a caveat, we're all super afraid of our bodies, okay? Listen to what your body's saying. It will tell you what it wants and what it needs. So just try and be in tune with that. Also, the problem with no pain, no gain is when someone is potentially injured, they will keep training irrespective and make that injury worse and potentially do long-lasting damage than if they'd rest. Okay, so listen to your body. So I'm now going to move on to DOM. So after you exercise, especially when, well, particularly when you do something like resistance training, but also when you do like long runs and stuff, you can have pain the next day in your muscles, the muscles you've trained, or maybe the day after that, and it's called delayed onset of muscle soreness. We don't quite understand why people get it, but we do. DOMS should last for 2 to 3 days, and it should be in the muscle, not the joints. So again, really important to distinguish between the two. But also, I know a lot of people who, if they don't feel DOMS after their workout, they don't feel like they've worked out or had a good workout. But DOMS does not equal a better workout. The presence or absence of DOMS largely indicates how accustomed your muscles are to the intensity or type of exercise which you've been performing. So I know if I have, say, 2 weeks off for a Zumba class, and I come back and I teach and say I'm doing side bends, the next few days my muscles aren't used to that. So I'll have soreness, aching in those muscles. But in a month's time, if I'm still doing the same routine, I won't, because my muscles are accustomed to it. So don't automatically assume if you don't have DOMS that you haven't had a good workout, because it is not an indication of that. It merely is indicating how accustomed your body is to what you've just done. So, final solutions on that point. If you're in pain, stop. Discomfort's okay, and if you haven't got DOMS, it doesn't mean you've had a bad workout. But if, say, after a few weeks you're still not getting DOMS, maybe you need to vary or change up your workout, okay? Because maybe it's not challenging you. Number 8, sweat. So we automatically assume if someone's sweating a lot, they're working harder than us. They're having a better workout. I'm afraid it's really not true. How much you sweat depends on a variety of factors. Number 1, your fitness level. Number 2, the temperature and humidity in which you are training. And number 3, your genes. I don't sweat. I'm not a very sweaty person. But I notice in the summer when it's really humid and really hot, I will sweat. But still not that much. Some people merely have to do a step touch in a class and they're like dripping. It isn't an indication that you're having a better or worse workout. We're all different, okay? So let's try and challenge that and just get that out of our minds. Number 9, the all or nothing mentality. The on the bandwagon, the off the bandwagon. It's just not helpful. It's not sustainable. We're all going to have things come up in our lives and people seem to think that's them failing. But actually, we just sometimes have to accept life and look at a way around it. You know, we have injuries, so we can't train. Or maybe we have to find a different way to train. It's not you failing. So it's your birthday next weekend. You've been eating particularly well this week. You feel like you're on track with what you're trying to achieve and eating a varied and nutritious diet. Comes to the weekend, you have a bit more than usual to drink. You have a takeaway. You have some cake. And suddenly that one incident, that one weekend affects the whole week, because you have this sensation, this guilt, this shame that you've fallen off the wagon. But that's not true. Just sometimes we need to take a step back and just be objective and be like, hey, it was my birthday. Life's for living. As I go back to, on your deathbed, are you going to worry about that slice of cake you had to eat? Or are you going to imagine and hopefully flash in front of your eyes those awesome times you had with friends, having a laugh, partying, eating foods you enjoy? So everything in moderation. Okay, including moderation. We need to get out of this. We're either on the bandwagon or off. We're on a diet, we're on a diet. We need to try and find a way to create sustainable change that we can do long term. It's far better to do a little and often and allow yourself to have foods you enjoy when it's coming to nutrition. And it's also really important that you find an exercise you enjoy that you can do long term, not something that you like join a gym for a month in January and cane your body into the ground, injure yourself, give up, and then it's a repeated cycle. Okay, I really hope that makes sense. So let's try and look for long-term change, behavioral change, habit change, not quick fixes. Quickly dropping weight is never a healthy way to do it. And also find ways to incorporate things you love, because you're more likely to keep doing them if you enjoy them. Finally, my final point, the thing I really dislike within the health, fitness, well-being industry is representation. You look at the majority of marketing out there, and it is a certain race, a certain size, a certain shape, a certain look. And if we look at human race, we are all different. And let's not forget, health at all sizes. Just because maybe someone looks overweight does not necessarily mean they're not healthy. We need to challenge that in the world. But also this needs to start with the representation within the media that the fitness industry are putting out. You know, how often do you see disabled people in advertising? How often do you see older people in advertising for gyms, fitness? No, we don't. They're always younger people who are in great shape, and what we deem great shape. And yeah, it's just not representative. I mean, I'm starting to see changes. Like this weekend, I've been looking at what Zumba have been putting out, and there's a lot more diversity in what they're starting to put out. Because we are a diverse nation, the fitness industry should represent that. Because seeing someone like you doing something that you feel isn't possible already breaks a barrier. You think, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So it's really important we get that. It also affects the instructors. Like, there's a lot of pressure as an instructor to look a certain way. And that often comes also from the expectation of participants and gym goers. They make a judgment on someone's ability and knowledge because of how they look. But it's not indicative. Just because you look a certain way doesn't mean you're smart or dumb. It's just how you look. So we need to think about fitness and health at all sizes. You know, getting out of the mentality that a certain size, a certain weight category equals your health. As I've discussed previously, your habits dictate your morbidity, how long you're going to live, far more than your weight. So, do you move often? Do you eat a varied, nourishing diet? Do you get good sleep? Are you stressed a lot? Do you smoke? How much do you drink? All these things have a far greater effect on your health and being disease-free than your weight. So it's really important we start and challenge that, and the fitness industry represents that in its marketing. And, you know, there is a lot of judgment that if you look a certain way, you know what you're doing. So people will take advice from someone on Facebook just because they've got a six-pack. If they give you some nutrition advice, oh, they've got a six-pack, they must know what they're on about. Maybe they're just genetically really lucky. And as we discussed in step 1 of today, one size does not fit all. Just because it's worked for them does not mean it's going to work for you. So I hope this has all made sense, and I hope you feel a bit more empowered, and maybe like you're going to question things you see on social media a bit more, and not be so harsh on yourself. There's always so much pressure and judgment on the way we look, and we are far more than that. What I want is people to come to me to enjoy moving, to enjoy exercise, whether it's as a PT to get stronger, whether it's a Zumba class just to forget their life, de-stress for an hour, move and dance and have a good time. That's what's important. I don't care what size, shape, ability they are. You know, not everyone picks up the choreography. Who cares? I forget the can't even say it, choreography. We're all human. So, team, be kind, be open-minded, be loving, be inclusive. And this is what the fitness industry needs to be. So, take care, have a brilliant day. I hope I haven't bored you, and I hope what I've said has made sense. Take care, and yeah, see you again soon for another Team Talk. Bye everyone.